do. I don't do no more. The things I used to do, I don't do no more. Things I used to do, I don't do no more. For the Lord's made a change in me.
Hello, this is Real History with Melissa. It is the 9th of April, 2026, and it's the second Thursday of the month, and I'm on with Neil Foster, and I have a pile of articles that he has sent me in the last few weeks. There is a theme. I detect a theme, but we're just going to get going. Good morning.
Good morning from a rainy Florida. We've got some rain at last.
Oh, well, that's helpful. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Well, you sent me some pictures. You sent me pictures of your garden beds, your galvanized beds that you've just gotten started on.
hmm
And you had earlier sent me some pictures of the greenhouse. It all looks really good.
Yeah. Well, the greenhouse took about a day to do. Uh, I was trying to get some pallets from the local tool shop. He just gives me them, but he didn't have any. So I said, I'll go to UPS. Old UPS employers, they'll be all right. So I went down there and they had a bunch of pallets. They said, yeah, just take them. I says, what about that cardboard there? You want that? No, no, just take it. So all that in the greenhouse, there's cardboard underneath all that mulch.
Ah,
So that'll be soil next year.
yeah, that's
So next year
great.
I'm just going to plant straight in the ground in there. Um, but yeah, that mulch. I sent you a picture of the pile of mulch you get for $20.
Yes, I want to
Um,
do that. I
it's
do.
my I well, it's good in one sense, but you got to have somewhere to keep it. Um, I've only got one spot I can keep it, and I waited 6 months for a load, and I got 4 loads in a fortnight
Mm.
to move it all. But I sent you another picture up the back where the beds are. That's where I had to shift it to. That's about 100 yards from where I've got it dumped. So
Well,
that's
when you
one
say
one
say
wheelbarrow at a time.
when you say keep it, I mean, does that mean like what if you're going to immediately spread it out?
Well, if you want to
That
immediately spread it out where you dump it, that's handy.
okay, I
But
see.
I did that first. I did all that side of the house first with the
Okay.
first load, and then it's the further away I go is what takes it. Yeah, literally about 100 yards from one
Yeah.
end of the property to the other.
Yeah.
Uh, up the
Well,
mountains.
I mentioned this to my brother. He doesn't quite have the sense of
Urgency.
what's yeah.
Yeah, I have the same issue here. Believe it.
Really.
Yeah, from people who should know better.
Well, I tell
Uh,
you what, also Neil said he said there's a book. I sent you a book. It's on the way. And sure enough, last night I checked the mailbox and there it was. It is Neil Sperry's Complete Guide to Texas Gardening, and it looks is very good.
I
It
think he's
looks
been
like a
doing it a long time.
yeah. Well, I could use help. I wouldn't say a natural gardener, and I don't have a lot of time, and some of my efforts have been for naught. But
I
I
think you
did
need
know,
to
yeah.
get yourself some illegal immigrants. Get them in there. If there's any left, if ICE hasn't taken them all out.
Oh,
Or get a
yeah.
legal one. Get a legal one. They're not that expensive.
Yeah, my big I think that my big projects are going to be preparing for next year if I have that kind of time. But I have some flower beds that were my mom's that are closer to the house that were,
Yeah.
they're stone walls that she made, and I think I'm going to turn those into food, lettuce and things like that.
Well, I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm looking at going down the Amish route because I'm working on the assumption that we're going to have nothing.
Ah,
So I'm just going to do it with nothing. I'm just going to plant my seeds and try and get the bugs to come and eat the bad bugs and all that thing. The Amish don't use any chemicals or anything, so we ain't be able, the way this is going, we ain't going to get any chemicals either.
right,
Even if we wanted to use them, which I don't. So,
right.
um, yeah, I don't want to advertise, but I did send you the picture of the piles of mulch you get for $20. And if anybody's looking for mulch, I'd advise them to go ahead and do it because how long we can get that for, I don't know either.
Right.
And it can make soil over time for a year or
No,
2 years.
it's impressive. I think once I have a plan of action as to where I'm going to do what, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. Well,
you
all
know.
that mulch I've got spread out in those pictures that I sent you, that should be soil by next year, but I'm going to have to turn it once or twice. But, you know, that's fine.
Mm,
But I mean, going from sand to soil in a year ain't bad.
no, no, it's fantastic. And
And
here,
then, I mean, it's $10 a bag for a bag of soil, which is, I think they say it's 2 cubic meters, but I've never seen 2 cubic meters come out of one of those bags.
no, no.
It's maybe two square meters if it's flat. That's about it.
Well, and you know, because you're using the galvanized guard, the raised
Hmm.
beds, and I have one of those. It's a good size, but I have one of them. And every year, with the way the soil compacts and goes down,
Hmm.
if I'm going to use that, I will need at least 6 or 7 or 8 bags of soil. That's really
Right. Well,
pricey.
I filled half of those with mulch
Yeah, yeah,
underneath
yeah. Well,
because
see,
that'll rot away. So.
well, what I did was, that what is suggested on these kind of things, I supported it initially when I started with things like twigs and
Hmm.
cardboard and stuff like that, and then put the soil over it. But even still, soil's pricey. If you can make your own, that's
But
great.
as I said to you about that mulch, it's already chopped up for you. It's
Yes.
already shredded leaves, everything is in there,
Yeah.
so you don't
Yeah.
really have to do an awful lot with it.
No.
Well, you don't have to, I mean, if you wanted really fine stuff and make it rot quicker, you can put it through a little domestic shredder,
Hmm.
you know. But anyway,
All right.
that's a
Yes,
gas lesson.
let's dive in.
Right, okay, we mentioned gas prices the last time. It went up to 4.30 here last week. It's down to
Really?
4.20 now, but I mean, big deal. And this is from El País, I think it's Spanish, is it? Gas prices in the United States, what's happening and how high they might go. Now, I read through this article, and they're giving you every excuse under the sun as to why the US is paying high prices for gasoline when there's absolutely no reason to do it.
Hmm.
Although the US produces more oil than it consumes, they'd be good citizens, wouldn't they? We must be
Hmm.
good citizens. We're producing more than we're consuming. Domestic prices continue to depend on the international market. Well, why?
Right.
Why can't American oil companies just sell it to, well, it's their petrol stations. Why,
Hmm.
why is it going up? Because of the international market. What if you're using it domestically? It's got nothing to do with an international market.
Right.
Right.
I'll send you something a little bit later that shows the percentage that all the countries have gone up, not the dollar amount, but percentage jump since the beginning of this so-called war.
Hmm.
And the U.S. was over 30% jump, and
Yeah.
some other countries had a real high jump like that. And again, there's no
Well, I
reason
mean,
for it.
this is before they stole all that oil from Venezuela.
Mhm.
Where's the benefits from that? Where's the America First stuff for that? The global impact of the war, not that we'd want it if you've got any conscience, but there you go. The global impact of the war in Iran has caused the average price of gasoline in the United States to rise above $4 per gallon for the first time since 2022. Well, it hasn't the war that's caused it. It's the greed of the oil companies that's caused it,
Right.
in the States particularly. Since late February, when the conflict began, prices have risen by more than 30%, reflecting an energy shock that is already affecting not only drivers but the entire economy. Well, that's the idea, isn't it? Destroy the economy.
Mm-hmm.
The main trigger has been the disruption of the global oil supply. Well, uh, the American oil supply doesn't have to rely on the global oil supply because they've got more than they consume. So
Hmm.
that's a lie, particularly due to tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, a key route through which nearly 20% of the world's crude oil normally flows. The drop in maritime traffic, attacks on extraction and storage infrastructure, well, who did that? And uncertainty about the conflict's duration have pushed oil prices above $100 per barrel, rapidly passing that increase on to gas stations that sell refined fuel derived from oil. Now, all this reminds me of is I don't know if Alan would, well, Alan would have remembered it, the 3 day week, right,
Hmm.
which was
Hmm.
the oil strike in the late 70s or
Yeah.
early 70s, mid
Yeah.
70s.
As I
But I was,
recall,
I
it
was
was
still,
around
I was,
74.
yeah, I was still at primary school or
Uh-huh.
just starting secondary school. Yeah. And yeah, primary school I was at. And the lights went off at 8 o'clock in the evening. The
Hmm.
power went off right after Coronation Street. Uh, right after Coronation Street, you had to get your indoctrination before you went to bed.
Yeah.
Right. Um, And my mum and dad watched that religiously, and we were kind of forced to do it because we're all in the one room, right, with
Uh,
candles.
oh my
You know,
goodness.
at the end of after Coronation Street was finished, we're all sitting with candles,
Mm.
and this is where we're going.
Hmm.
This is where we're going, and they're saying it's because of oil. Uh,
And
well,
also, if you think about it, think about the way, we're told, oh, we're gonna, they've put sanctions on so and so. They're doing, I mean, especially under Trump, he just seems to do whatever he wants to do, although we know somebody's, controlling his strings. But come on, all they have to do is say to these companies, you're not raising the price.
yep, hmm
That's it. Yeah.
yep.
We're in a war and this is a necessary thing, and you're going to give X price to the military and you're going to give X price to the citizens, and you're not benefiting.
No, well, it shouldn't go up
But
at
of
all.
course, that's, I mean, that's fantasy land.
Yeah, that's Fantasyland. Yep, yep. Okay, so against this backdrop, several key questions arise. Uh, the first one should be who's controlling the price?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are gas prices rising? The increase is mainly due to global factors. Again, we're talking domestic here, so that shouldn't have anything to do with it. Although the United States produces more oil than it consumes, domestic prices continue to depend on the international market. It doesn't tell you why. When
Hmm.
global supply shrinks or becomes uncertain, as is the case due to the war in Iran, crude oil prices rise and with them gas prices. That's global, that's not here. In
Hmm.
addition, there is a lag. Prices at the pump typically react days after changes in oil prices, suggesting that there could still be further increases. Oh, whoa, there's a shock.
Hmm.
Seasonal demand, such as spring travel, also plays a role, as does the rising cost of diesel, which has already surpassed $5 per gallon, as affecting freight transport. This seasonal demand thing is another red herring. They've got plenty of gasoline. It doesn't matter what the demand is in spring. There's no
Right.
shortage. You
Right.
know, they've just admitted they produce more than they consume. I assume that takes in all the seasonal demands.
Hmm.
So that's BS, as we would say. Uh, if the US produces oil, why is it vulnerable to global crises? Although
Well,
the US,
yeah.
that's a good question. Uh, Although the US is a net exporter of oil, it is not entirely self-sufficient in terms of refining. Oh, here we go. We've not got enough refineries. They didn't think about
Uh,
that when they were drilling for all that oil. They thought, how are we going to refine this? Oh, I
They're
don't
going to
know.
do it like we send our chicken to China to be
Yeah, yeah,
processed.
yeah. This is environmentally friendly. We'll ship it off to somewhere else,
Yeah.
and then we'll ship it back. Yeah. Much of the oil it produces, well, again, it's not entirely self-sufficient in terms of refining. Well, I guess they're sending it off somewhere else, the stuff they're exporting.
Hmm.
Right? Are they refining the stuff they're exporting first?
Mm.
If so, they should stop that and just send the stuff to somewhere that can refine it themselves
Hmm.
and keep the gasoline here. Much of the oil it produces is light, while many refineries are designed to process heavy crude, which is imported mainly from Canada and Mexico. Adapting the infrastructure to use only domestic oil would cost billions of dollars and take decades. Well, I actually looked that up, and it says um, 3 months to 8 months
Okay.
it
And
would take,
billion,
take to
evidently
adjust.
we have billions of dollars because Trump has just asked for 1.5 trillion
Well, I'm going to come on to that.
okay. All right.
Yeah,
Good.
not that particular point, but there's something
Yeah.
else he said.
Okay.
For this reason, even without directly depending on oil passing through the Strait of Hormuz, the US market remains vulnerable to any global disruption. They're not importing any oil,
Hmm.
so what are they talking about? How high could prices go? Well, the sky's the limit, right? I don't think they put a figure on this. Forecasts suggest that prices could continue to rise if the conflict drags on. Well, it's going to continue to rise regardless because they've blown
Hmm.
up all the refineries over there and all that stuff. So analysts estimate, it's all guesswork, right? That for every $10 increase in the price per barrel, gasoline could rise by between 10 and 40 cents. Well, there's a broad spectrum, right? In more extreme scenarios, oh, extreme, right? What could get more extreme than where we're going? If the war intensifies or supply remains restricted, well, that the two go together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oil could reach $200 per barrel, which they're getting you ready for this, right? Which would push gasoline price up to $7 per gallon. Or it could be $7.30. We don't know. Even in more moderate scenarios, there are already warnings that prices could approach or exceed $5 in the short term. There's a place in California that's actually $10 now,
Really?
and
Really?
it's a
The
remote,
highest I've
remote
heard is
place.
seven something, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's some remote place, but
Uh,
they say, oh, it takes a lot of gasoline to get there.
something, Neil, I think we've gotten into the wrong line of work because these analysts, they have got a great job. They can just make stuff up,
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
Oh no, that'd be conspiracy theory, wouldn't it? Why do prices vary so much from state to state? Because some are greedier than others. Not all drivers pay the same for gasoline. In states like California, the price is around 5.80 per gallon, while in other regions it remains below 3.50. Oh, where are they? These differences are due to several factors: state taxes, transportation costs, access to refineries, environmental regulations, and local market conditions. Well, they could do something about a couple of things there, couldn't they? For a start, state taxes, just abolish them in the time being. They've got enough money. And environmental regulation, how about doing away with some of that stuff?
hmm
For example, California uses a special, more expensive blend of gasoline and has higher taxes, which significantly raises the final price. That'll be your environmental regulations, right?
hmm hmm
What impact does diesel have on the economy? It keeps it going. How about that? Diesel plays a key role because it powers trucks, trains, and farm machinery. There you go. So it powers trucks which carry everything from your food to your furniture to every single thing you want. Trains, same thing, transports all sorts of stuff, especially to underground military bases. And farm machinery, well, no farm machinery, no food, right? It's a key role.
Doesn't
Its
that
price,
sound like a comedy out of Hollywood? Trucks, trains, and farm machinery?
yeah, yeah, well, Dumb and Dumber. Yeah.
Yeah.
Its price increase more than 40% since the start of the war could be passed on to the prices of food, shipping, and goods in general. Genius, right? These experts, I'm glad they're there, like you said, to keep us safe and informed. Economists, that this ripple effect could drive inflation, really, in the coming months, making everything from basic goods to services more expensive, and they're printing more money, by the way. Does lowering gas taxes help? Let me think. You're going to take money off the price of a gallon. Yeah, that helps. In response to rising prices, some states have considered temporarily suspending fuel taxes. However, evidence suggests that the impact on consumers could be limited. Well, I think consumers at this point would be quite happy to get anything off the price of a gallon of gas.
Yeah.
This is because the final price depends on multiple factors. Here we go. It's like what's the Hegelian dialect. They'll just give you
Mhm.
one thing, then oh no, but this thing here.
Yeah, yeah.
This is because the final price depends on multiple factors such as the cost of oil. Well, that's where we started, right? And distribution margins, profiteering, in other words.
hmm hmm
Furthermore, eliminating these taxes means less revenue for infrastructure, like the care, such as
Yeah.
roads and bridges. Because, well, we ain't going to be travelling on them anymore, are we?
Yeah.
For this reason, some governments consider the measure to be ineffective in addressing a global problem. Well, it's a domestic problem they should be addressing.
Right.
What might happen in the coming months? The future of prices depends almost entirely on how the conflict unfolds. If the flow of oil to the Strait of Hormuz is restored, prices could stabilise or even fall toward the end of the year. No, this is going to take years. They say it takes between 5 and 10 years to build a refinery. They've destroyed all the refineries over there, so there
Right.
you go. There's 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
However, if the war drags on or intensifies, the energy market will remain under pressure. I don't think they care. I think they're
No.
making a lot of money. In that scenario, consumers could face not only higher gas prices, but also a general increase in the cost of living. Well, we could have told El País this ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah, if that's their conclusion. If the war goes on, we can't get any oil, everything goes up. Yeah.
I just mentioned a story recently about how they bet on everything. People
Mhm.
are, betting on when a missile's going to be launched, et cetera, et cetera. And so I propose that the future of prices, what they do is take all the money in those betting markets and anybody from the big guy down to the little guy who's betting on stuff, all of their winnings go to stabilize the price of oil. How's
Mhm.
that?
Yeah,
See how
yeah,
quickly people would stop betting.
yeah, yeah. It's this one made me laugh because this is Euronews. and they've got a header here. It's an ad.
Okay.
Um, but this is the one about the airlines. A perfect storm. Airlines cut flights and increased airfares as jet fuel price spikes. Now, we know this is about getting rid of air travel.
Hmm.
But the header, the ad, is Find Your Path to Independence with Schwab. Obviously, it's not that Schwab, but it just made me laugh.
Right.
Increased demand on flight routes that avoid Middle East and Gulf stopovers also means flyers are having to pay more. Any excuse, right? Travellers are facing rising airfare costs and reductions in flight schedules as the conflict in the Middle East causes oil prices to soar. Anybody flying over the Middle East is generally flying around that general area, or you're going to Dubai. Well, Dubai's not there anymore, apparently. So that's been done
Hmm.
away with. Bahrain, place like that. Tax havens for the rich and famous. So who cares if they're paying a little bit extra? Experts predict ticket prices could remain elevated for months, even if the war de-escalates. It's the same argument as oil, right?
Hmm.
Increased demand on flight routes that avoid Middle East and Gulf stopovers also means flyers are having to pay more. I just said that. Regis Doganis, who once headed Olympic Airways in Greece and now chairs London-based consultancy firm Airline Management Group, told Reuters that airlines face an existential challenge. Well, remember by 2050, the UK is only supposed to have 4 airports,
Hmm.
and this will be all over the place as well. And this will be the excuse for it. Well, there's no airlines here anymore. They all went out of
Hmm.
business.
Hmm.
Yeah, they will need to cut fares to stimulate weakening demand, while higher fuel costs will be pushing them to increase fares. A perfect storm. How about all these aircraft that are still flying above our heads, spraying the skies? Where are they getting
Ah,
fuel?
yeah, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
they ain't stopped. I wonder who's paying for that. Oh, it's us. Which airlines are increasing fares? I'd say all of them. We don't have to read that. Uh, Korean Air told to enter emergency management mode. A source told Reuters, that South Korea's flag carrier Korean Air will enter emergency management mode from April as rising oil prices weigh on costs. They just pass it on, so why do they care?
Right.
They just pass on the cost to the. I'm expecting an email from Aer Lingus any time to say there's going to be a fuel surcharge on the flight for my
Uh,
son to come over.
uh, right.
Now, thousands of flights scrapped, right? That means they're saving money, right? They're not paying crews, they're not paying for
Right.
gas, they're not paying anything.
Right. Right.
So they're saving money there. So why can't they just subsidise other flights with the money they're saving on those ones?
It's true.
But anyway, cruise line implements passenger surcharge. There you go. You can't get on a cruise now. The surcharge of $15 a person for each night. For each night. Wow.
Wow.
Not even for the
Wow.
cruise. It's for each
Yeah.
night you're on it.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What's
That's
that? So
pretty
it's
pricey.
$105,
Yeah.
$210
Yeah.
added on. Nice.
Wow.
Well, if you can afford a cruise, I guess $210 isn't too bad. I bet you're going to be at the all you can eat buffet every day, 24/7. Get my money's worth here. Where are the free drinks? Yeah, yeah. So that's that one. The excuse to shut down the airlines.
Hmm.
What's the next one I've got here? Come on, some of these things slow my computer down so bad. Um, yeah, just this deranged lunatic with on an orange face. Trump to Axios. He must like that crowd because he's always on there. Iran deal possible by Tuesday. That's today. Otherwise, I am blowing everything up. What a clown.
Yeah.
And now, if anybody else in the world had said that, America, if they had a decent guy in charge, would be up there going, "Ah, we're going to bomb them. We're going to stop that. They're threatening to blow everything up." I've never heard Iran say that.
No.
We're going to blow
Uh,
everything up.
no. It's uh
But anyway,
it's monstrous.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at a monster.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how who's pulling his strings. He's still a monster.
Hmm.
For and he's sacked 3 or 4 of the top generals in the military.
Oh, I heard that Hegseth has sacked about 20 top.
20, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
one of them, interestingly, is the head of the chaplains,
Ah,
the military
interesting.
chaplains. Yeah,
Interesting.
got to get rid of him
Uh,
because last month, we mentioned that the troops were being told they were fighting a holy war and they weren't happy about it.
hmm.
Yeah, they weren't
Well,
getting
they
told that by
get
their chaplains.
that's right. Get a chaplain in there that'll go along with that
Hmm.
story.
Yeah, and an evangelical
Hmm.
stand with Israel and all that rubbish. So anyway, we talked about the amount of money he was given to the military. But Trump says it's not. Never mind. He could be putting this money towards subsidising gasoline. But Trump says it's not possible for the US to pay for Medicaid, Medicare, and daycare. We're fighting wars.
Right.
Well, there's the priority, right?
Yep.
Where's what happened to America first?
Uh,
Trump urged states to fund benefits programs instead because we have to take care of one thing, military protection. Who's he protecting?
yeah.
Who's he protecting?
Yeah.
Well, we'll come on to that as well. There's something to do with that as well.
Okay.
President Donald Trump on Wednesday said it's not possible. So this is last Wednesday when he said the war would be over this Tuesday or it's going to blow everything up, right? This war's really moving on at a pace, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the federal government to fund Medicare, Medicaid and childcare costs, arguing it should be up to the states to take care of those programs while the federal government focuses on military spending. The president's remarks were delivered to attendees at a private Easter luncheon at the White House, where Trump also accused Democratic-led states of fraud. Of course, it's the Democrats, right? He went on to say that he told Office of Management and Budget Director Russell Voigt, don't send any money for daycare because the United States can't take care of daycare. That has to be up to a state. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. This is the best rhetoric he can come out with. We're fighting war. These are all separate little soundbite sentences.
Yeah.
We can't take care of daycare. You've already said that. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too.
Yeah.
He sounds like a child.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, if I had been at high school, right, and I'd written a paragraph like that, that would have been an F minus on my report card.
Yeah.
Later in his remarks, the president added that it's funny they don't spell president with a capital P in this article. Maybe that's what they think of him. Added that states would have to raise their taxes to pay for childcare costs, and that the federal government could lower our taxes a little bit to help them to make up for it. So they're not going to pay for it, but they're going to supply some of the money back in tax rebates to help the states pay for it. Well, you're still paying for it, right?
Right.
In some shape or form, or some of it at least. Why couldn't you just said that at the start? Well, when did you cut it back a little bit?
You wonder too, has he gone off script or whatever? Because right after he said this about how we can't do this, we've got to fight wars, then some spokesperson from the White House came out and said, "Oh, we're really for the people, and we're not cutting off any programs. He just meant," and then they go on to tell you what he just meant. Well, it's like, well, I think he said what he meant.
Yeah, he wasn't very good at it either.
No.
It's not possible. Again, it's just repeating itself all the way through this. It's not possible for us to take care of daycare. Well, it is possible. It is possible. Of course it's possible. You've done it before. Medicaid, Medicare, and all these individual things, Trump said, they can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. He missed basis out on the end of that. We have to take care of one thing, military protection. We have to guard the country. What country? What country is he guarding? Let me think. Might be some small patch of sand in the Middle East somewhere. Begins with an I. I can't put my finger on it. It's not four letters. The Easter luncheon where the president made these remarks was not open to the press, but the White House posted the video of Trump's remarks on its YouTube page. Isn't that amazing? Government's run by sound bites on Truth Social and YouTube now. That's government for you. What happened to statesmen and stateswomen? I mean, we used to have people who could actually pretend very well that they were good statesmen and stateswomen. You've got them in Russia now, in places like that. They actually look like they mean business, even if they are acting. They're just acting a different way. But they come across as kind of credible. How anybody, like you mentioned to me, how anybody still believes in this guy is beyond me. It's incredible.
I think to me, the saddest thing, I understand we're living through theater here, but the saddest thing is that this really is an indictment of the American people. It shows the mentality of the people who put him in there, who believe this nonsense. It's as base can be. And that's just sad.
It's almost like they're voting for the lowest common denominator.
Right.
The lesser of the two evils, but I mean, it's not just that they're the lesser of the two evils. Both sides are just complete morons.
Yeah. No,
Like it's Dumb and
there's
Dumber, right?
no, yes, it is. There's absolutely no, there's not even any attempt to make it look real and
No.
adult and serious. It's just a joke.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he goes on. President Trump was referring to rooting out the billions of dollars of fraud in these vital programs, and his record proves he will always protect and strengthen Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Well, he's not going to pay for it. Well, how's that work? White House spoke. Well, he didn't pay for it anyway. What does he care? Uh, like, like they printed billions and billions of dollars during COVID, right?
Hmm.
And now he's saying they've got to cut all these programs because we need billions of dollars for war. Well, just hey, do what you did before. Just print it more. Just print more. You said that worked,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, no, the people have got to suffer. But it's to basically put the country into a wartime scenario, right?
Hmm.
To bring in like the rationing.
Hmm.
They're basically saying here, because the states, there's no way the states will be able to afford this stuff. Like particularly places like Florida, where a lot of elderly people come to retire,
Hmm.
and probably need all this stuff. Um, Florida's not going to be able to pay for all that,
No.
you know. So there you are. It's the rationing of healthcare,
Hmm.
which which is obviously going to lead to a higher death toll, which is depopulation. So there you go, job done. White House spokesperson Olivia Wales, I've never heard of a man called Olivia, why don't you just say spokeswoman, said in a statement, she said it in a statement, right? Of course she did. Oh, she stated it in writing. No, no, no. The president proudly signed historic legislation eliminating taxes on Social Security benefits for nearly all. He's eliminating taxes while not giving them, right? You're not getting Social Security benefits anymore, but I'm eliminating the taxes, so you're all right. For nearly all seniors and barring illegal immigrants and other ineligible individuals from fraudulently receiving Medicare and Medicaid benefits. How, why would you have to bar illegal immigrants and other ineligible individuals from fraudulently receiving it?
Hmm.
They're automatically barred anyway if they're illegal immigrants
Hmm.
and other ineligible individuals. Um, in this day and age where, they can, your bank will flag up a perfectly legitimate payment that you've made to somebody because they think, oh, that's fraud. And then they'll flag up other things. They won't flag up the fraudulent payments, that happen in your bank account occasionally. They can't catch these fraudsters. They can't catch the people that are screwing the system. Really.
Yeah.
Uh, the Trump the, the Trump economic agenda, I don't think he had one, will continue to lower costs, making everyday life more affordable for hardworking American families. That's a total contradiction of everything that went before there.
Hmm.
The federal government currently provides states with funds to subsidise childcare for low-income families through programs like childcare and development block grants and temporary assistance for needy families. Democrats have long sought to pass federal laws that would further subsidise the cost of childcare for families with young children. Ah, well, if they hadn't messed about with the family in the first place, they wouldn't have to bother with this, would they?
Mm.
Um, Senator Senator Patty Murray, Washington Democrat, Republican Catherine Clark, introduced legislation last year that would expand early education access. Oh, there you go, get them young, right? And cap childcare costs for families at 7% of their household income. Is that all? What if you're living on 1,000 a month? There's this, you know. I don't know. Some Democrats quickly seized on Trump's comments Wednesday, comparing the cost of childcare to the cost of the ongoing US military operation in Iran, which topped 11.3 billion in its first 6 days last month. 6 days, nearly 2 billion a day. But hey, no money for the sick.
Uh,
Yeah. Trump says we can pay for war in Iran, but can't afford. See, they're obviously playing that off against. Yeah, but they would do exactly the same if they were in. So. Trump says we can pay for war in Iran but can't afford childcare. Mr. President, the billions you wasted in Iran could pay for $10 daycare for every American family with childcare workers paid $25 an hour. Well, I'd like to see the sums on that because childcare is a lot more than $10 a day. But anyway, I guess it's talking about subsidies,
Mm-hmm.
socialism.
Mm-hmm.
For the cost of just how about just giving the man of the household a decent wage so his wife doesn't have to go out and work? How about
Mm-hmm.
that? And stop the housing market screwing everybody and give them massive mortgages. For the cost of 3 weeks of this war, we could provide vision, hearing, and dental coverage to every senior on Medicare for a year. It is possible. Trump just doesn't care to do it. Uh, as I say, I mean, this is just right and left, the Punch and Judy show.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll leave it at that. The president has appointed Vice President J.D. Vance as a key player in his mission to root out fraud. Last week, Vance convened the first meeting of the administration's new anti-fraud task force. And on Wednesday, the Vice President swore in Colin McDonald to be the Assistant Attorney General for National Fraud Enforcement. That sounds like the government's going to steal stuff off you.
Yes.
National Fraud Enforcement.
We're we're
We're going to enforce the fraud on you.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But what's the next one? Yeah. But never mind, never mind. No Medicare, no healthcare, Food's getting a bit short. But the US Sun, nice tabloid, Starbright Americans warned lights are going out this year under new darkness law as strict energy saving measures put into place. Our darkness law, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that movie you just watched recently about the dark? What was it? Scanner Darkly.
Uh-huh. Yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So here we go. Maine is enacting legislation aimed at combating light pollution. They said it was to do with energy on the headline. Now it's light pollution in the first sentence. Uh, Advocates have argued that even darkness deserves conservation. Like it's going to go away. It's not going to be dark at night anymore because we've turned the light on. My God. Darkness
Well,
is a natural resource just like land. Uh, so they're trying to say that darkness could become scarce in the future. Yeah. Just like land, just like water, it is absolutely deserving of conservation. These people are out of their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Francisca Gundrum, Maine Audubon's Director of Advocacy, said, according to Maine Public, and the only way you can serve it is if you take steps to regulate, in particular, outdoor light pollution. My word, what would we ever do without these experts?
Oh my
The bill pertains
goodness.
to public lighting, like street lights or lights on public buildings, right? So when the crime rate skyrockets, that's
Mm-hmm.
okay, because that's the reason you've got public lighting, right? It's to keep you safe, they told us. And that's why the cameras are there, and they don't really work that well in the dark. It allows for some exemptions like outdoor sport usage. Well, that's okay. We can have sports, but the public can walk the streets in the dark and be terrified all the way home from work because they'll be walking because they won't be able to afford gasoline to drive. To have it to be too bright is just not just for dark skies. Well, this is who wrote this sentence? To have to be too bright is not just for dark skies to see the stars. Who
Well,
wrote this?
supposedly it's a direct quote from the woman.
Yeah, I don't know how she got her tongue around that. It's not just for the nocturnal animals whose biorhythms are interrupted by having it feel to them like daylight because of the brightness. It doesn't seem to bother the raccoons around here when they come out at night, I tell you. They don't care how bright it is. They're in my swimming pool in the middle of the afternoon swimming. They're like, oh wow, suntan, great. It's also because the exact reason people light is for safety, and it's less safe to be what? It's less safe to be too bright. I don't
Oh,
think this lady's
okay.
very bright.
Please,
She's not very
please,
bright.
please read it again without laughing.
It's hard.
I know, but try.
It's right. Okay.
It's
Right, I'm going to start with the first part because I might not
okay.
laugh at the end of it
All right.
if I can. Hold on, brace myself. To have it be too bright is not just for dark skies to see the stars. It's not just for the nocturnal animals whose biorhythms are interrupted by having it feel to them like daylight because of the brightness, Main Rep Laurie Osher said. It's also because the exact reason people light is for safety, and it's less safe to be too bright.
Well, she doesn't have to worry about her safety because she's not too bright.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she's
She'll,
okay.
yeah, she'll just walk into the viper's nest of bandits hiding around every corner because she's not too bright.
Ooh.
I tell you, when I was young and we used to go out at night and go into town and have a few beers and stuff. Um, we were street smart enough because you could get a taxi to walk up the middle of the road because there was no traffic at that like
Hmm.
2, 3 in the morning. You walk up the middle of the road because you did not walk beside the buildings where people could be hanging about.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, Pamela McKill, Scotland wasn't a very safe place back then at 3 o'clock in the morning. Pamela McKill,
Hmm.
a civic advocate, said that her childhood instilled in me a deep appreciation for Maine's natural beauty, including its pristine night skies. Well, you can't see its natural beauty in the dark, can you? You can see the sky, yeah. Of all the challenges we face, light pollution is one where we can all make a difference, she wrote in a letter of support. Other states across the country enforce rules against light pollution, such as Arizona, Arkansas, Colorado, and Connecticut, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures. A map of the state rules alongside the technicalities can be found here. The technicalities, my God,
Hmm.
there's rules for everything, right?
You know something, Neil, did you ever watch the old TV show Dad's Army?
Yep.
See, all this is a wartime scenario. Get those
Hmm.
lights out. Put
Yeah.
those lights out.
Yep.
That's all it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
You had to have blackout curtains.
Yep.
Uh, we'll be using blackout curtains to make our house look empty.
Yeah.
The bandits walking about in the dark outside might want to get in your house.
Uh,
Uh, anyway, it doesn't get any more sane. This is the conversation. It's byline is academic rigor and journalistic flair. So bypass, and this is their academic rigor and journalistic flair. Bypass the Strait of Hormuz with nuclear explosives. The US studied that in Panama and Colombia in the 1960s. Now, remember, Israel was talking about using nuclear weapons to build an alternative to the Suez Canal to come out in Gaza not so long ago. So are they going to push that?
hmm
Um, with the world
What?
struggling to, sorry, carry on.
No, I was just gonna say, what paper is this? I'm looking for it.
Conversation. I thought I
Okay.
sent you this. Oh, maybe
Well,
I
you
didn't.
did. I pulled him up. I'm just trying to
Oh,
find it here. Okay, got it. All
right.
right.
Um, with the world, I mean, using nuclear explosives, right? What about global warming?
Hmm.
Uh, with the world struggling to get oil supplies moving from the Middle East, struggling. I wonder why that is. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, that guy who was on the steps handing out that book,
Hmm.
The Third Wave, or was it?
Yeah,
Was it the Third Wave? Was it?
I think so.
He wrote three.
Toffler. Yeah,
It
it
was
was Toffler. Yeah.
Topless, sorry, but he was handing them out, wasn't he?
Well, no,
Newt
it was
Gingrich.
Gingrich passing out Toffler's book
Yeah,
called The
yeah, yeah.
Third
That's
Wave.
what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think there was a series of 3 books in that. I've got them all
Yeah,
in
you're
my
right.
dad's
But
loft. Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, raised eyebrows with a social media post highlighting a radical idea. A radical idea. He's a radical, right?
yeah.
Used nuclear bombs to cut a new channel along a route that would avoid Iranian threats in the Strait of Hormuz. Well, exactly the same thing Israel just proposed there before they started bombing Gaza.
Hmm.
Gingrich's March 15th, 2026 post linked to an article that labelled itself as satire. It labelled itself as satire, right? Which meant it probably wasn't. Gingrich has not clarified whether his endorsement was serious. He is old. He is old enough to remember. I thought that was an excuse. When ideas like this were not only taken seriously, but actually pursued by the US and Soviet governments. As I discuss in my book, Deep Cut, Science, Power and the Unbuilt Interoceanic Canal, the US version of this project ended in 1977, did it? At the time, Gingrich was launching his political career after working as a history and environmental studies professor. So he's studying the environment. He wants to blow holes in the earth using nuclear weapons for a
Hmm.
canal, right?
Hmm.
What a lunatic. Instead of fighting over a 21-mile wide bottleneck forever, we cut a new channel through friendly territory. How friendly is that? By the way, we're just going to drop maybe 20 or 30 nuclear bombs on you. But hey, you're getting a canal out of it. Be grateful. At least you'll have water. And you might have a few boats passing through. Here we go. A dozen thermonuclear detonations, and you've got a waterway wider than the Panama Canal, deeper than the Suez, and safe from Iranian attacks. Well, I thought when you let off a nuclear bomb, you couldn't use that place for decades. Isn't
Yeah.
that what we're supposed to believe?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
time.
so
It's time to send an open letter to Secretary Hegseth.
yeah. I like the readers who added context.
Yeah, the article is satire. At the end, there is he didn't sound like he'd been satirical to me.
No.
The views expressed above do not necessarily represent those of anyone with brain cells. Yep. The idea for a new canal to move oil from the Middle East had emerged 2 decades earlier in the context of another Middle East conflict, the Suez Crisis. In 56, Egypt seized the Suez Canal from British and French control because it's on their territory. The canal's prolonged closure caused the price of oil, tea, and other commodities to spike for European consumers who depended on the shipping shortcut for goods from Asia. If it was only tea we had to worry about, it wouldn't be such a big deal, would it? But what if nuclear energy could be dropped, to cut an alternative canal through friendly territory? How can they possibly control that?
Hmm.
You got a big crater. Oh, we need another crater. Oh, look at that. It's gone the figure of eight. We need to drop another one to straighten out. It's just got a line of craters, and then what they're going to send in guys in hazmat suits with shovels to straighten it. We've got a few rocks in here. Oh well, tough. There's a shell case in here. I don't think it's quite gone off. That was the question asked by Edward Teller, the principal architect of the hydrogen bomb, and his fellow physicists at the Lawrence Radiation Laboratory in Livermore, California. Why can't they just use what do they call them? Bunker busters. Why can't they just use them? Why does it have to be
Hmm.
nuclear?
Hmm.
Because they want to contaminate the whole place. Oh, we made a mistake. We can't use that anymore. They've just left a big hole in the ground. Right, never mind. Well, landfill.
That's
Uh,
right. We tried. We were
we
work.
tried. Yeah, we did. It was for you. Anyway, it goes on.
Yeah.
Project Plowshare. Oh dear. Uh, Here we go. Project Plowshare advocates, led by Teller, sought to use what they called peaceful nuclear explosions,
Mm.
peace bombs, to reduce the costs of large-scale earth-moving projects and to promote national security. So they're just going to contaminate the whole area so they don't have to pay so much for trucks and diggers, right? And staff, I guess. Promote national security. Well, they've destroyed the national security of that country because it's contaminated with radiation, apparently. But hey, they've got a canal.
Hmm.
They,
Oh, they envisioned a world.
yeah, they envisioned a world in which nuclear explosives could help extract natural gas. Well, hold on a minute. If you're dropping a nuclear bomb where there's natural gas, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
From underground reservoirs. Well, they ain't going to be there long, are they? Dropping a nuclear bomb in it, the reservoir ain't going to be there. And build new canals, harbours, and mountainside roads there'll be a tourist attraction soon, with minimal radioactive effects. Well, how do they work that out? Minimal radioactive effects. Well, Nagasaki and Hiroshima are still suffering from those minimal radioactive effects to this day, with the amount of deformities in newborn babies. To kickstart the program, hey, let's get off to a good start, right? We'll drop two instead of one. How about that? Taylor wanted to create an instant harbour by burying and then detonating 5 thermonuclear bombs in an indigenous village. Did anybody ask them? Hey lads, do you want a canal? Oh well, there's a downside. Your whole village is going to go, and the whole place will be radioactive.
I love the name of this one, though.
Yeah. Uh, it was a village in northwestern Alaska. The plan, known as Project Chariot, generated intense debate. Ben-Hur, right? As well as a pioneering environmental study of Arctic food webs. What's a food web? So an environmental study. Well, they're going to contaminate all the food there,
Hmm.
surely. contaminate the soil for sure. Taylor and Livermore's physicists also worked with the Army Corps of Engineers to study the possibility of using nuclear explosions to build another waterway in Panama. Why don't they just go steal it? That seems to be simpler. Feeling that the aging Panama Canal, it's an aging Panama Canal. It's an old canal. My God, we've got to blow it up. And its narrow locks would soon be rendered obsolete. Why? Why can't I just replace a lock at a time or something? US officials had called for building a wider, deeper channel that wouldn't require any locks to raise and lower the ships along its route. Why didn't they do that in the first place? A sea level canal would not only fit bigger vessels, really, it would also be simpler to operate than their lock-based system, which required thousands of employees. Since the early 1900s, US canal, I think they have the locks to stop the place flooding, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that why they have locks? They have them
Mm-hmm.
in the UK, and it's to hold water back, because most of these things coming off the sea, and they don't want a tidal surge. But anyway, US canal workers and their families had lived in the canal zone, a large strip of land surrounding the waterway. Panamanians increasingly resented having their country split in two by the racially segregated colony-like zone. And why wouldn't they? So that's it. They just want to blow everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Like Trump says, the war's not over. I'm blowing everything up.
Yeah.
And that includes the indigenous village in Alaska and anywhere else we decide we want a canal because we're going to go barging at the weekends.
Ah,
Yeah, to our golf course. But
goodness.
anyway, lucky we're not a Palestinian in an Israeli jail these
Well, now
days.
wait a minute. Before you go to the before you go over there, you missed a great one in Maine to follow up on light pollution.
Oh, where was that?
Well, you sent me a cyber attack leaves Maine drivers with breathalyzer test
Oh,
systems
yeah,
unable to start vehicles.
yeah. I didn't have that one up. So yeah,
Oh,
that was.
yeah.
It's funny. My friend in Norfolk in England,
Hmm.
he said they did something like this. It was like a parking lot of a superstore,
Hmm.
and this was back in the 90s,
Hmm.
and everyone was coming out of the store. Nobody could get in their car, and nobody could get out of their car. Back in the
Wow.
90s, every
Wow.
car in the parking lot just suddenly wouldn't open.
Mm.
So, I mean, Norfolk's been used as a test bed for all sorts of things, including chemtrailing and stuff like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's very flat for people who don't know. It's right at the coast. So, yeah, they get used for lots. And there's a couple of American Air Force bases there, funnily enough. But anyway, so yeah, that one.
Well, yeah, it's just funny. It's that there was a cyber attack. We don't have to read it, but it's a cyber attack impacted a nationwide breathalyzer test system
Mhm.
found in vehicles of OUI offenders, affecting thousands of drivers, including people in Maine. And so, yeah, so what if this happened when they were having, a total dark out so that we
Yeah,
could see the stars better?
yeah.
Yes.
There'd be no headlights.
Yeah.
Yeah, spoil the view. Yeah. But everybody, you'd hear a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, uh, I mean, it'd keep the cops busy, wouldn't it? Because they'd assume that everybody that had been drink driving,
Hmm.
they'd have to breathalyze everybody themselves.
All right, take us to the Middle East.
Right. Okay. Israel passes law to give death penalty to Palestinians convicted of lethal attacks. Well, I don't think it's just lethal attacks. What the first report I saw about this was everybody in custody that had been convicted. That's like they've got a 99% conviction rate or something.
Hmm.
So everybody that's been convicted is going to be executed. Doesn't matter what they've done. And this is men, women, and children. It's not just so-called terrorists. It's
Mm.
everybody. Uh, Imagine through Saudi Arabia, right?
Hmm.
Everybody, oh, that's savagery. That's well, they say this kind of thing happens in Iran,
Hmm.
right? People get hung in the square or something. 5 people get hung in the square or something. Oh, there's international outrage. Not a word about this.
Hmm.
And that's all I'm going to say on it. That's,
Yeah,
that's all you
yeah,
need to
yeah,
say on it.
yeah.
Uh, it's just savagery. And
Ah,
whether Netanyahu's still in charge, dead or alive, or faked his own death, I don't know. But he's disappeared. Um, I would, uh, I would imagine it'd be in his best interest to fake his own death at this point, because he's not going to be safe anywhere. I don't think, for years to come if he ever decides to go out in public. And he's certainly not going to be walking the streets of Israel anytime soon, is he?
Mhm.
Um, but anyway, sticking with the war thing. Uproar in Germany over law requiring men get military approval for long stays abroad. So Germany is going to introduce conscription.
Mhm.
That's what
Mhm.
that's about,
Mhm.
which tells you that Europe's going to get involved in this war,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Military Ministry clarifies clause affecting those up to age 45. That is part of legislation that came into effect in January. A little notice clause sweeping changes to Germany's military service policy has caused uproar after it emerged that the law requires men aged up to 45 to get permission from the armed forces for any significant stay abroad, even in peacetime. Well, you can still travel around Europe uh, quite freely at the moment, so I wouldn't be telling them anything.
Mhm.
You know, I'm going away for a week. Uh, if you don't come back, there's nothing they can do about it. Except I'm sure they'll get if you go to France or you know whatever, Holland. I'm sure the Dutch and the French government will have an extradition thing going on with Germany, and they'll send them back.
Well,
You're looking for this
absolutely.
guy,
And it's
you
also in
know?
this day and age when most people are going to be traveling. I mean, who travels with enough cash to stay gone that long? And they just cut
We'll
you
just shut down the
off.
bank off.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yep. Um, before any significant stay abroad, even in peacetime. When was the last time we had peacetime?
All right.
There's a question for the audience. When's the last time we had peacetime?
Yeah,
When was there not a war that the West was involved in your
yeah.
lifetime? Never. The legislation, which went into effect on 1st of January, aims to bolster the military and demands all 18-year-old men fill out a questionnaire to gauge their suitability to serve in the armed forces, but stops short of conscription. To gauge their suitability, you're 18, you'll do.
Look at the timing of that, Neil. Don't you find that curious?
Timing,
Legislation went
January
in.
1st.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they had planned some things in advance.
Yeah. Well, it's either they could use the excuse, oh, it's for Ukraine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because there's no men left there. If the modernized model fails to pull in enough recruits, well, why would it pull in any?
Yep.
Parliament will be compelled to discuss the reintroduction of compulsory service. The
Mm.
Defence Minister Boris Pistorius said as the leg
Yeah.
yeah,
I think his name should be Boris Pistonius.
I think he's drunk on something.
Yes.
Uh, Power said as the legislation passed the lower house of the Bundestag in December. The fine print, which went largely under the radar, yeah, that's why it's in fine print,
Hmm.
until a media report called attention to it this week because none of the politicians read it, right? It says men aged 17 to, oh, well, they've got women in there somewhere. But then, you know, whatever, trannies, everybody, would have to apply for authorization to leave Germany. You're going to get a lot of men identify as women, right? If all of a sudden, yeah, I'm a woman, I can't go. Um, have to apply for. Yeah, that's all you have to do. There's a cop out, right? It says it's
Well,
only men.
they'll get around that. I mean, look,
Well, buy a bit of time.
yeah,
I'll buy a bit
Israel
of time.
requires both sexes or all sexes or any
Yeah,
sex to, so yeah,
yeah.
hey,
But
there's a war on.
I'd use that loophole while I can.
Yeah.
I just go to the airport and say I identify as a woman. I don't have to do anything. I know you can't search me. I demand a woman. Uh, so for more than 3 months, right? So even if you're going for work, what are you
Hmm.
going for work for your company? 3 months isn't a long time. I mean,
Hmm.
these guys, when I was working on the bridge in Bulgaria, they were there for 5 years.
Hmm.
You know, the clause could potentially affect millions of German citizens embarking on anything from a gap year or study abroad to a new job or sabbatical. Well, they want to know exactly where you are so they can just say to your school or your job, "Hey, this guy's to come back. Time
Hmm.
for him to go to the meat grinder."
But we don't live in a slave system.
Not at all. Not at all. Don't
No.
be silly. It's called democracy and free speech and all that kind of thing.
Uh,
It touched off agitated media coverage in a country where the changes to the military service policy have already led to street protests by school pupils subject to the law's new requirements. Good, good. Um, I thought it was still the law that Germany wasn't allowed to have a standing army after the Second World War. Wasn't that part of the agreement?
Mm-hmm.
So how can they have conscription? Anyway, the defence ministry, what does the law matter? The Defence Ministry confirmed the requirement first reported by the Frankfurter Rundschau paper. They show you this picture of military boots on the steps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that says. I got
Yeah.
these. We're not putting on those boots on one of about 150 boots placed on the steps of the Reichstag in Berlin as part of a protest against conscription in November. I wonder who paid for all that.
Mm-hmm.
This, I don't know, counter protests, but all part of the thing. Well, you get young guys going, "Oh, look at those boots; they're great." A ministry spokesperson. They don't want to be identified as a man in case they're scripted. Said the new legislation was designed to establish a framework for conscription if required, making it necessary to know potential conscripts' whereabouts in case of urgent need. They're not going to conscript you. Don't be silly. According to the wording of the law, males aged 17 and over are obliged to seek prior approval from the relevant Bundeswehr Career Center. Career Center. I've been conscripted. My God, I don't want to be in the army. I want to be a ballet dancer. How am I going to be a ballet dancer with one leg? Don't send me. For stays abroad lasting longer than 3 months, they say the law stipulates that obligation ends at the age of 45. Well, if you're conscripted at 17, good luck trying to get to 45.
Mm-hmm.
The policy requires the authorization for permission to be abroad for a lengthy period, even outside times of crisis. We're always in a time of crisis. Define a crisis. Reviving a decades-old rule. However, the ministry said it remained largely without consequence for the men in question. Of course it's with consequence.
Mm-hmm.
How can they say that? What if you say I'm going away for 3 months and then 3 months and a day, right, you're coming back. There's the consequence.
Mm-hmm.
The regulation already applied during the Cold War and had no practical relevance. That's because it wasn't a ground war, right? We weren't fighting anybody, really. In particular, it is not subject to sanctions. The sanction is you're going to get drafted. That's your sanction.
Yeah.
The ministry did not say how many people had made a request for permission this year. I hope none of them. Just don't tell them anything. I guess when you go to the airport, it's like when you fly into America, they ask you if you've got a return flight.
Oh, there's probably something in the fine print, though, don't you know, that
Yeah.
if you didn't ask for permission, it's an automatic conscription.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't. Yeah. True.
You forgot to mention it. Well, you're off to
Yeah.
Iran.
Yeah.
You want the holiday? You got one. It's long term. Well, or short term, depending how lucky you are. The spokesperson indicated that approval for periods abroad would be routine as long as conscription was not in force. Well, it's the same thing. And Germany was not facing a security emergency. Aren't they always claiming the Russians are going to invade them? We will clarify through administrative regulations that authorization is deemed to have been granted as long as military service is voluntary. So they want to know where you are in case there's an emergency, but it's voluntary.
Yep.
They're going to knock on your door and say, "Do you want to volunteer?" I'm in Thailand. Yeah, I know, but do you want to volunteer to go to Iran? No, thanks. Oh, you're coming anyway. That's why we came all this way to get you. They said, adding, as military service under current law is based exclusively on voluntary participation, such authorizations must, in principle, be granted. In principle. But that doesn't mean necessarily. The spokesperson said there would be a wide berth for exceptions to the authorization requirement. Probably if you're a member of parliament, right? Partly to avoid unnecessary bureaucracy. It remained unclear,
Well,
however.
I've got a path to unnecessary bureaucracy, and that's get rid of the bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, I was going to mention the no kings thing affecting the markets later, but we'll do that after this one.
Okay.
My ideas for a t-shirt. It remained unclear, however, what procedure men would need to use to gain permission before the eased regulations take effect, or how long it would take. Oh, Jesus, gobbledygook. Policy is intended to find enough volunteers So you're going off. Presumably, they're suspecting you're going off to avoid conscription, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they think it's going to encourage volunteers.
Yeah.
Really? If you were going to volunteer, you'd already have done it.
Mm-hmm.
The policy is intended to find enough volunteers to increase the ranks of the military to 460,000, consisting of 260,000 active soldiers. Well, I hope soldiers are active. It'd be pretty useless if they weren't. And 200,000 reservists by 2035. The country has 182,000 active soldiers and just under 50,000 reservists. Compulsory military service was suspended in 2011 under the then Chancellor Angela Merkel. Oh, she did something right. The German Chancellor Friedrich Merz wants to create the strongest conventional army in Europe. Hold on a minute. There's something went wrong with that the last time. I seem to remember. Amid the increased threat from Russia, since the Kremlin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine and doubts about the US commitment to European security under Donald Trump. I wouldn't feel secure under Donald Trump, especially if I was a young girl. Anyway, last year, Germany exempted most defence expenditures from the country's constitutional debt break. Oh, so just we'll just spend what we want on the military, but don't include that in our debt. Don't worry about that. It also earmarked more than 500 billion euros for defence between 2025 and 2029. 425 billion a year. Never
But
mind, Neil.
don't worry, nothing's coming.
No, nothing's coming. But don't worry, Neil. You've read 23 articles in the last year. I should mention this is The Guardian. At this unsettling time, we hope you appreciated this article. Before you close this tab, we want to ask you if you would support The Guardian at this crucial time for journalism in the US. Do I have to tell somebody where I'm going to do that, or what? No. Can I put a no here? No, I can't even reply. Look, I can't even say no.
No, all your only choice is how much are you going to give them?
Yeah. There's not even a zero tab there. Anyway, so continuing with this is what is the draft age limit? Oh, Delaware wants $1 a month now as well. Get rid of that. There we go. What is the draft age limit? Army raises enlistment age. What to know? Nothing. As you say, nothing's coming. Nothing's coming. They've raised it from 35 to 42 years of age. And here's what to know about the draft. About draft and enlistment ages, selective service requirements, SSR, and who would be exempt. So there you go. The Americans are doing it as well. The new army enlistment age came amid President Donald Trump's claims that the United States is negotiating a 15-point peace plan with Iran. I mean, why did they bomb the place to smithereens over the past couple of weeks? And now they're talking about a peace plan. Couldn't have done that first. Let's talk about not fighting here. Let's call that used to be called diplomacy, didn't it? Or just big boy talk. Let's sit around the table and sort this out.
Yeah,
that's what politicians would do if they were real.
Right.
What's the problem here?
Yeah.
You don't like us, we don't like you. What for? Why? What reason?
Yeah. And since day 2 of this, there's been absolutely no mention of, oh, we're here to help liberate the Iranian people or the women or the all of the base simplistic propaganda that they gave as the excuse for the beginning of it. That's all gone.
He said something. He said something like, the people want peace and they're asking us to keep bombing.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, what a nutcase.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he's acting, how could you stand there and say something so ridiculous and blatantly false? Anyway, soccer. Let's talk about soccer.
Okay.
Right. The World Cup could be a breakout moment for drone defense tech. Oh, never let a good opportunity go west. As the US ramps up training and funding to counter aerial threats, companies are using this summer's events to prove their systems and pitch them at scale. As the threat of drone attacks grow, hold on, read that first headline again. The World Cup could be a breakout moment for drone defense tech. And the first paragraph, as the threat of drone attacks grows, well, that's because they're releasing them, right? The federal government is turning this summer into a proving ground for US efforts to shore up aerial defenses at events like the World Cup. How are they going to prove it? How are they going to prove they work? They're going to take somebody out.
Yeah.
Uh, it may also serve as a launch pad. Well, they've got all the terminology, a launch pad for drones, right? For defense tech firms hoping to sell systems designed to intercept unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. Out of the World Cup, you'll see the baseline for what law enforcement and critical infrastructure sites will then buy at scale. Is this why they put the World Cup in the US this year?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Eh? Just in
Mm-hmm.
time. Just in
Yep.
time. We've got a war going on. We've got this going on. Oh, the climate catastrophe, that, blah, blah, blah. Everything coming at once.
Mm-hmm.
Says John Gruen, CEO of Fortum Technologies, which signed a multi-million-dollar deal to provide artificial intelligence systems, radar, and drone interdiction technology to US cities hosting the tournament. You're going to see how it worked and see how it all fits together. How it worked. That
Mm-hmm.
means they're going to use it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not how it works.
Mm-hmm. Would you
Um,
just take a look at that? Let's just discuss the picture that is
yeah,
on that comes with this article that is
that's a
about a
Tesla car.
sporting event.
That's a Tesla car,
Yeah.
isn't it? One of
Yeah.
Elon
Well,
Musk's ugly
yeah,
brutes
absolutely with a some female
and a child in it.
goon. Well, yeah, but outside in front of
Oh
it
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, those children and that woman look so happy to be arrested.
that's right. They do. And the female goon, she's armed with a drone disabling weapon. I mean,
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, I almost that looks
uh,
AI to me. That looks like an AI image to me. She doesn't look real.
well,
I mean, she's got a big thing on the front of her body. It's not body armor. It's a big bag of some sort, and then she's got this thing strapped in front of her. She's keeling over.
I would think so.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
yeah.
know what that stuff is around her face coming with them. And what's she got a mask on for?
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that in the height of summer in Miami.
Wow.
Uh, Anyway, a police officer armed with a drone disabling weapon stands guard outside the stadium ahead of the 2026. Well, it must be an AI generated image because it's not started yet. Um, quarter, Qualifiers final playoff football match between Derek and called. Oh, that. Oh, wait a minute. That was March 31st. Oh, there you go. They ran it out already.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah. I mean, we're getting into RoboCop territory.
Yeah.
Uh, a run of mega events over the next few years, including this summer's World Cup. So they're obviously planning for all these events still to be going ahead, even although they're
Right.
destroying the whole world,
Right.
right? Expected to draw roughly 5 million international visitors for matches and fan-zone parties. That's at each venue, by the way. That's
Mm-hmm.
each city. The nation's 250th birthday. I mean, it's all coming together, isn't it? How
Yep.
long's the empire going to last? The average is 250 years. And the 2028 Olympics has elevated drone defense as a national priority instead of Medicare and Medicaid. That doesn't matter. It has also raised alarms among civil liberties groups about expanding law enforcement surveillance capabilities. You don't say. Um, it's not. What about killing capabilities?
Mm-hmm.
Just says surveillance here.
Mm.
What's the point about having a drone, right? And something kicks off and there's terrorists running about the place. Are they just going to fly about and watch them? No, they're going to be
Well,
armed drones.
exactly. Yeah.
Drones are you can't have security just with surveillance.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the ground, that's for sure. Drones are increasingly being used for asymmetric warfare. Here, we're getting into it now, says Michael Robbins, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Association for Uncrewed Vehicle Systems International, UVSI. One of the most notable examples is the Ukrainian spiderweb attack, which secretly positioned remote operating drones to devastate part of Russia's bomber fleet. Ah, it reads like something spy novels these days, doesn't it? It's all
Mm-hmm.
meant to be, it's all techie, super duper stuff. What's different about the World Cup is the scale, says Robbins. It's 11 Super Bowls at once. Robbins has been engaged in drone defence since 2018, when a high-profile drone intrusion at Gatwick Airport in the United Kingdom shut down airspace for 2 days and caused significant economic damage. And I think that was probably the security services themselves just doing that to cause a bit of panic. Um, because anybody standing around a fence in any airport in the UK with a drone would be immediately challenged with guys in automatic machine guns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the United States, the federal government was slower to respond. For years, only a small number of federal officials were trained to take down drones. We don't have the training, we don't have the equipment, and we don't have the number of personnel that are skilled in mitigation technology and the use of mitigation technology. What? Okay. Particularly the application of that technology in really high, dense radio frequency environments or urban environments, says GB Jones, Chief Safety and Security Officer for the FIFA World Cup 2026. And it goes on and on. But oh, FEMA's involved, so you can feel better about
Hmm.
that. So, you've got the Olympics coming to America as well. What will America look like in 2028 if this
Mm-hmm.
carries on?
Mm-hmm.
They won't be having the Olympics, that's for sure.
No, the other one that you sent too from the conversation, cameras have quietly appeared in thousands of U.S.
Yep, I'll put that one
cities.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another one, but it's a video, and it's drones are now flying across the skies in Central Florida, uh, watching people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's for our safety, though.
Well, of course.
Cameras have quietly appeared in thousands of US cities. Now their integration with AI is sounding alarms. Well, the reason for that is because when they start rationing fuel, they're going to be reading your number plate, and if you're driving on if you're not permitted to drive on one day of the week because your number plate ends in a certain digit, then you're going to get
Right.
caught.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're for, and that's why they've put them up in this city as well, flock cameras. Um, but I'll come on to the flock cameras in a minute. Anyway, for decades, cars dictated urban planning in the United States. Now your city commission did, and made a mess of it. Few could have predicted that they would one day also double as nodes for surveillance.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? We both know one. In thousands of towns and cities across the US, automatic license plate readers have been installed at major intersections, bridges, and highway off-ramps. These camera-based systems capture the license plate data of passing vehicles, along with images of the vehicle and timestamps. More recently, these systems are using artificial intelligence to create a vast searchable database that can be integrated with other law enforcement data repositories. Well, the UK's had these for decades. Decades. They're in every gas station. They're every 100, 200 yards on every major highway. They're even on small country roads now. They've had them for decades. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I'm sure the US has had them for decades, just never told people.
Mm-hmm.
As a scholar of technology policy and data governance, I see the expansion of automatic license plate readers as a source of deep concern. It's happening as government authorities are seeking ways to target immigrant and transgender communities. Like, what? What?
Yeah.
They are already using AI to monitor protests and are considering deploying AI systems for mass surveillance. Well, they've just told you they're going to do it.
Mhm.
They're not considering it. They've already done it.
Yeah.
They did it on the 31st of March,
Mm.
right? And they've used them in London in protests and all that. They've had the
Mhm.
drones up. They've
Mhm.
had the goons there in their black Kevlar with the big camera things, taking photographs of people, facial recognition cameras. Eyes on the road. That's what you should be doing. Keep your eyes on the road. You shouldn't have to look out for cameras. Using cameras to track license plate dates to the 1970s, when the UK was embroiled in a long-standing conflict with the Irish Republican Army. See, they used that as the excuse for them back then. It's for your safety. We need to know where
Mhm.
these IRA people are going. We actually already know because we're running them, but that's beside this point. That's nothing to do with it. We told them to come here. Yeah. The Met, London's police force, developed a system that used closed-circuit television cameras to monitor and record the license plates of vehicles entering and exiting major roads. Uh, that's where it started, and as I say, it's on country roads and all over the place now. My friend in Norfolk avoids every major road he can because of this. He just drives country roads all the time. The system and its successors were seen as useful crime-fighting tools. Uh, I remember asking a Irish politician on radio over there, can you name one crime that a camera's ever stopped? And he couldn't. He
Mm.
says, but they prevent crime. I said, well, tell me a crime that's prevented. Name one.
Mhm. Mhm.
I says, they're only ever used after the crime's taken place. They don't prevent anything. I said, you're telling me two drunken hooligans come out of a bar at night, start scrapping and worrying about the cameras? No, they don't. They don't stop any crime. And half the time there's no footage of them anyway. But there you go. They just stuck up these empty boxes that said they were cameras and didn't have any film or anything in them back in the day. Over the next 2 decades, they expanded to other cities in the UK and around the world. In 1998, US Customs and Border Protection implemented this technology. By the 21st century, it started appearing in cities across the US, and on and on and on. Now, recently, AI has been incorporated into these camera systems, significantly increasing their reach. The vehicle information that's captured is typically stored in the cloud, creating a massive web of data repositories. If a camera collects information from a suspect's car or truck, say one also listed in the National Crime Information Centre, AI can flag it and send an instant alert to local law enforcement. And it can also, when your digital ID is incorporated into it, can have your dental records, your medical records, your bank accounts, everything from that camera. It's not just to track your number plate. In fact, that's a selling point of Flock Safety, one of the biggest providers of automatic license plate readers. That's to do with Palantir, isn't it? They're linked with them. The company uses infrared cameras to capture images of vehicles. AI then analyzes the data to identify subjects and quickly alert local authorities. They've got infrared because everybody's going to have to turn the lights off so you can see the stars, right? On the surface, automatic license plate readers seem like a logical way to fight crime. No, they don't. What kind of crime? What crime? Speeding, maybe? That's about it.
Right. Yeah.
That's the only crime they should be interested in.
That's right.
More information about the whereabouts of suspects can potentially help law enforcement. And why worry about cameras if you're following the law? If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear, right? A spokesperson for Flock told The Conversation that their technology has helped reduce crime, including violent crime, in cities that use their cameras, such as San Francisco and Oakland. Well, of course they'd say that, wouldn't they? I don't want to sell them. I bet they've got no evidence. How can they prove that they've reduced crime? How can they
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
It's like saying, diseases have gone down because of vaccines. Well, prove it.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's no proof of any of it. This is just nonsense. What I have noticed, we've got one up here on 60 outside the school, right? And there's been more accidents now since they put the cameras up than there ever were before. Because people are coming along the road and going, oh shit, there's a camera there. Slamming their
Right.
brakes on and there's a person running back again.
Yeah.
Furthermore, installation and maintenance are costly. For example, Johnson City, Tennessee signed a 10-year, $8 million contract with Flock in 2025. Nice. Right? Richmond, Virginia paid over $1 million to the company between October 24 and November 25. Oh, just for 2 months, right? Oh, not a year, sorry, a year and a month. A year and a month, eh? $1 million a year. And recently extended its contract despite opposition from some residents. But that doesn't matter. Erosion of civil liberties in plain sight. The technology seems to highlight the pitfalls of what scholars call techno-solutionism. Techno-socialism, as you call it. The belief that complex issues like crime, poverty, and climate change can be solved by technology. No, I thought it was money. I thought climate change was solved by giving money to Al Gore. Even more disquieting to me is the fact that these camera systems have created a mass location tracking infrastructure knitted together by artificial intelligence. The US doesn't have a federal, even, sorry, oh yeah, even the US doesn't have a federal law like the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation that meaningfully limits the collection, retention, sale, or sharing of location and mobility data. And they completely ignore that, don't they? As a result, data gathered through surveillance infrastructure in the US can circulate with limited transparency or accountability. License plate readers can easily be accessed or repurposed beyond their original goals of managing traffic. Repurposed, eh? What, they're going to put machine guns on them, meting out fines or catching fugitives. So the camera is going to dish out a fine to you when you've got your digital ID and just take it straight out your bank account. Yeah, in real time. Imagine that you're driving along the road, right, and you inadvertently go 5 miles over the limit, and this thing finds you. You get to the gas station, you can't get any gas, you're stuck.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
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 All it takes is a shift in enforcement priorities or a new definition of what counts as a crime. Well, they do that all the time. We need a crime, make up a definition.
Right.
Yeah. For the original purpose of these cameras to recede from view. But they're watching you, though. Civil liberties groups and digital rights organizations, all controlled, I'm sure, have been sounding the alarm about these cameras for over a decade. And what's happened? They've just got worse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a counter camera movement emerges. The promise of these cameras was simple: more data, less crime. Again, where's the evidence? But what followed has been murkier, more data, and a significant expansion of power over the public. Without robust legal safeguards, this data can possibly be used to target political opposition. Is that all they're worried about? The politicians?
Mm-hmm.
Facilitate discriminatory policing or chill constitutionally protected activities. That's the main thing, isn't it? The
Mm-hmm.
end one, to stop you actually doing anything about it. Well, in the UK, they're going out with angle grinders and cutting them all down, which I don't advocate anybody do, but it's nice to see somebody take some proactive action
Yeah.
instead of writing to their MP and hope for a good response. This has already happened during the current administration's aggressive deportation efforts. Automatic license plate reader databases were shared with federal immigration agencies to monitor immigrant communities. Isn't that racism? Uh, Recently, Customs and Border Protection was granted access to over 80,000 flock cameras. But hey, they weren't going to share any data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which have also been used to surveil protests. Uh, so yeah, there's people putting up maps of where the flock cameras are, but you can't avoid them. If you go in a city, they're everywhere. So anyway, that's it. That's that. There's rolling about all over the place, but never worry, never mind. There's always protection put in place for the public, right?
Yeah.
Stanwood to reactivate flock license plate reader plate cameras after Driver Privacy Act signed. So it's supposed to be, it's okay now. They can read your number plate, but it's going to be private. Don't worry, don't worry. It's going to be private. They can't be hacked or anything.
Mm-hmm.
They just told us they can.
Mm-hmm.
They can be repurposed without your knowledge. Officials in the city of Stanwood say they plan to reactivate their network of flock safety license plate reader cameras following new state legislation that adds structure and regulation to the technology. The city deactivated its automatic license plate reader or ALPR cameras in May 2025, citing evolving legal requirements. How about public concern?
Yeah. Yeah.
How about that? Never mind the legal stuff. What about the people saying we don't like being spied on? That should be
Mm.
enough. You pay for them.
That's
Cameron
so
says you
true.
pay for your own
That's,
change.
yep, that's so true.
We pay our city, and they go, you know what? I think we'll just spend that money on surveillance cameras.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's okay. We'll vote for you next time. Don't worry.
Well, maybe if they had surveillance cameras in my town, they could see me driving into a pothole, never to be heard from again.
Very true. Or a sinkhole
That's,
here.
yeah.
In our downtown. I told you we're making a 15-minute city of it, and they've got a
Mm-hmm.
place where if I do a local market, it's on a little thing called Market Plaza, and they built an artificial reservoir underneath it, so nobody can drive on it. Where's the planning in that? Because when you go to that one, you got to haul all your stuff, right? So one day I decided, no, I'm hauling my stuff away up there. It's raining. I don't want to be doing that. So I started to drive on it, and the guy goes, "Oh, you can't do that. There's an artificial sinkhole there." I said, "What? You mean the city built an artificial sinkhole under the Market Plaza?" I says, "Are you serious?" He says, "Yeah." I says, "They're stupid." I says, "What if a truck has to come in here to maintain this place, never to be seen again?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just lunacy. But that's it. That's your city officials. But yeah, under the new law, cameras are not allowed. So the cameras know. It must be like the COVID camera.
Yeah.
Not allowed to collect data on your sensitive locations, or it's a naughty boy that'll get his batteries removed, including facilities offering protected healthcare or immigration-related services, places of worship, and schools. Well, they've got them up here, right outside
Mm,
the school, and that's what they
right.
say. They're for safety for the school kids. Although where they've got them, nobody can walk, right? They only walk up and down the side streets.
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
That's a state road. There's
Yeah.
no there's no sidewalk,
Mm-hmm.
and they drive right along the length of the school. There's nobody
Mm-hmm.
crossing the road there. There's no
Mm-hmm.
buses crossing the street there. But anyway, that was the excuse. The law also prohibits agencies from using that technology for immigration enforcement or to track people accessing protective healthcare or engaging in constitutionally protected activities such as protests. but they do use them for that. They just admitted that.
Yeah.
It requires law enforcement to obtain a warrant. Oh, that's okay then. So after the fact, right, after the protest, they'll say, we're not surveilling you. We're not surveilling you. And then the local goons get a warrant and just review all the footage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
It bans the buying and selling of that data so they can have it for free. In other
Mhm.
words, yeah.
Mhm.
Another, because it's the law, right? It's the cops. They can
Yeah.
have it for free.
Yeah, of course.
Another change limits how long data can be stored, reducing retention from 21 days to 30. Really?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
What difference would 9 days make?
Hmm.
Yeah. Another key stipulation in the law is that ALPR data will now be exempt from public records requests. So you can't you were walking up the street and you were assaulted, right? You were approached by a police officer and you assaulted him. Can I
Hmm.
see the footage? Uh, no.
That's right. Yeah, yeah,
Why not? It's exempt from public records requests.
yeah, yeah.
But he assaulted me.
Hmm.
Well, there's no proof of that, is there? What there is, it's on the video footage. You know, I mean, does that mean the judge can't even get it?
Yeah,
So why have they got it?
yeah.
If the only people that can use it are the people who own the cameras.
Yeah, the long years ago, maybe a dozen years ago, Alan read an article that this was out of the UK, but I see this as being everywhere now. And there was a young man who was on a bus and a woman turned him into he reached into his pocket for something. I don't it might have been, an MP3 player or whatever, but he reached into his pocket and she called the police and turned him in as suspicious. He was doing suspicious activity. So at the bus stop, they came and arrested him. They fingerprinted him. I mean, they literally pulled him off the bus and took him to jail because a woman said he was doing something suspicious. And even though they released him and said, oh, okay, false alarm, the conclusion of the story was his fingerprints, his facial ID, and all of the things that we gathered about him will be on our records forever.
Well, there was a situation in the UK again where a guy he walked into the post office, his local post office, and they I don't know if they set off a silent alarm or something, but the cops turned up because his daughter looked like Madeleine McCann,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
and they,
remember
they
that.
quizzed him. And
Yeah,
said, yeah, and
yeah.
they had all these records where he lived, his children went to school, this, that, and next. And they knew all about his age, what jobs he's had, everything,
Mm-hmm.
just from that facial recognition camera
Yeah.
in a little like suburban post office. But they won't use it for anything else except reading your number plate, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, so it was just a few months into the city's contract with Flock Safety that a citizen submitted an enormous data request. Roberts says that these often happen by repeat requesters. Well, maybe they're a bit concerned, right? Who send submissions to multiple local municipalities looking to receive money from late fees. Oh, so they're just doing it to get money, right? They don't really want the
Uh-huh.
information.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For the city or town not accommodating a records request within a certain amount of time, well, give them it then. Give them it in a certain amount of time. You don't have to worry about the late fees, would you? Do your
Mm-hmm.
job. It was just an expansive request for tons of data that we couldn't even provide. Why not? Why
Yeah,
not?
you're
It's just
recording
data.
it. Yeah,
It's data.
exactly.
Yeah, you can send that over
Yeah,
the
yeah.
internet. These days, it's called modern technology. The mayor explained public information requests are a big thing for a small town. Well, they are for the public. That's why they make them, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Robert says that as a result of, I mean, people think that the public just, do this because they just want to be a pest. No, they're doing it because they want to find things out that their politicians are up to because they know they're all crooks.
Mm-hmm.
Robert says that as a result of the overwhelming request, they closed their program down and took the issue to the courts. In other words, they didn't want to release the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. Ultimately, court sided with their argument. Of course it did. It's a big club, right? With funny handshakes. But then the law was passed by the legislature and Governor Ferguson, paving the way for them to turn the cameras back online. So the guy didn't get the information and they just carried on regardless, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it just goes on. They've got so many cameras, da 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 da. These cameras have really helped us to solve quite a bit of crime up until we turned them off. We, it didn't. It doesn't say here they stopped any.
Mm-mm.
He added that the department has identified two cameras that are currently in conflict with the new guideline of avoiding sensitive locations and said those are being worked on to be moved to a new locations while remaining off in the meantime. Really?
Mm-hmm.
They're working on moving them. Well, just send a guy around with a ladder. It's not difficult. They put them up pretty quick.
Yeah.
They put thousands of them during COVID when nobody was working. Listen,
Mm.
uh, things like vehicle theft, stolen cars that travel through the area, people with warrants for their arrest, are DV suspects that we're looking for. That's in one paragraph. There's no context to it. Anyway, but yeah, so people with warrants for their arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do they know who's driving the car unless they've got facial recognition?
Mm-hmm.
Because you could be driving somebody else's car. You get pulled over, and the guy goes, "I want out for your arrest." No, it's not my car.
Right.
Well, yeah. And then you get into a bit of an argument, and then the officer assaults you and says you were resisting arrest, and you can't get the footage to prove wrong. Anyway, that's it.
Wow.
It goes on a bit more, but anyway, there's a flock camera debate. When do we have that?
Yeah.
So, where's that take us? I've only got a couple left here. Ice Age Farmer's been talking about the food crisis. It's actually a video, but you can, you know, I watched the video. Um, in a recent New Scientist interview titled "The Global Food System is Breaking, Here's Why," Oxford professor Paul Behrens called the crisis a needed global disaster and a silver lining that will finally push through long-planned dietary shifts and break farming's
Oh
link to
my
fossil fuels.
goodness. Which one is this one? I'm not sure I have it
Uh,
up.
Food crisis, silver lining, end meat, Oxford professor admits,
Okay.
unshadowed.
Okay. All right.
From the horse's mouth, they openly say the coming hardship is the push they've been waiting for, with
Mm.
dietary changes labelled as the biggest lever. This sounds like a Pearl Harbor event that they needed. What happened
Absolutely.
then?
Yeah.
Watch as the conversation quickly shifts from real problems to using this crisis as leverage for technocratic control over what ends up on your plate. So you've got to watch the video to see what they say. But basically, they basically start saying, well, we've got to start eating this other stuff, and we've got to cut out meat, maybe having one chicken breast a week and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet these people ain't eating one chicken breast a week.
Yeah. No.
And I did have another one on the energy thing.
Well,
I
I've
don't have
got a
that one up.
couple more. There's two unshadows I have up, which are digital energy relief credits. You'll have no energy and be happy. And then
Oh yeah,
there's
that's the
energy
one.
Armageddon, food rationing and lockdown.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go one in, because I don't have them up.
Well, I'll go with this one. This is from Unshadowed. Armageddon hits, food rationing and lockdowns begin. The media is now confirming what we've warned for years. Energy lockdowns, food rationing, grounded planes. I mean, you've already covered the grounded planes.
Mhm.
Rapid dismantling of modern life are here. The IEA just issued their emergency playbook, including reduced speed limits, work from home pushes, all straight out of the absolute zero blueprint. The long planned agenda for total control is going live. Let's talk about it. And then there's the 2021 report on absolute zero agenda that's attached to that and a BitChute video. So we linked to that. The other one is digital energy relief credits. You'll have no energy and be happy. Fuel subsidies quietly pave the way for scoped digital credits and 15-minute cities. I'll just skip this a little bit. The IEA, whose boss chairs the WEF Energy Advisory Board, now has a public scoreboard tracking how governments are reacting. Subsidies, tax cuts, flash loans in Australia, France, Spain, and beyond. It's classic helicopter money, but that can't last. You can print money, you can't print food or kilowatt hours. Mark my words, next comes digital energy relief credits, programmable CBDC tokens in your digital ID wallet, good only for approved fuel, temporary and tracked. One of those credits are scoped or geofenced, you're living in a 15-minute city whether you like it or not. Start growing your own food, he writes. Build real resilience. Stay off the permission layer where you can, unless it's conscription.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
just as you were reading that, Ice Age Farmer posted something else.
Mm,
OpenAI CEO Altman says it's totally possible that there will be a world-shaking cyber attack this year that would get people's attention.
mm,
I wonder what somebody needs to arrest. Like every time these people come out with these kind of statements, if law enforcement really worked, they wouldn't need a flock camera. Just go around and arrest this guy and say, we need to ask you a few questions about what you know is coming.
right. Yeah.
You know, and
And make
by the
sure
way,
that
you're
and
under
make sure
oath.
you're not benefiting on the stock market.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In this nod to Klaus Schwab's cyber pandemic, we know that this planned attack will be used to justify restricted access to AI systems because they're simply too powerful to entrust to the public, like because we're too dumb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Altman's other statements about metered access to AI like a utility reinforce that they are heading to this model, which means you're going to pay to get on the internet as well. That's going to come as well. Access to
Mm-hmm.
the internet, you have to pay,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to have digital ID, of course. They just need the right crisis to justify it. That crisis is long planned and coming. So
Mm-hmm.
that just popped up there while you were reading that one out. But we talk about data centers. Now here, this ties into the climate change nonsense, right?
Mm-hmm.
AI data, this is from New Scientists. So again, the same people that were talking about, feeding you bugs and all that kind of thing. And one chicken breast a week, between 60 probably. AI data centers can warm surrounding areas by up to 9.1 degrees centigrade. And they're telling us that if the world increases by 0.005%, we've got to be worried.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hundreds of millions of people, right? Hundreds of millions live close enough to data centers used to power AI to feel warmer average temperatures in their local area. This is March 27th this year, so
Mm-hmm.
just a few days ago. Data centers built to power AIs produce so much heat that they can raise the surface temperature of the land around them by several degrees,
Mm.
creating so-called data center heat islands that may already be affecting up to 340 million people. It doesn't say where. Um, the number of data centers built around the world is forecast to rise enormously. JLL, a real estate company, estimates that data center capacity will double between 2025 and 2030, with AI expected to account for half that demand.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea Marinoni at the University of Cambridge, UK, and his colleagues saw that the amount of energy needed to run a data center had been steadily increasing of late and was likely to explode in the coming, yeah, it might explode with that heat, in the coming years, so wanted to quantify the impact. Now, I've got to subscribe to read the whole thing, but that gives you a general idea of
Mm-hmm.
the, I mean, if you're heating the ground by that much, what are you doing what are you actually doing to the ground? There's things live in that, what about the environment? Eh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Imagine living next, I mean, what is creating all that heat? I mean, imagine this, they must have they do actually. These look like the AC things on the roof there.
Mm-hmm.
How much AC are these guys using to keep
Yeah.
that place cool?
Yeah.
But we've got to turn ours off.
Honestly, it's so transparent now. The whole, sustainability, global warming, the whole lie is just in your face, but
Hmm.
people are mind bombed, so they can't see it.
Well, I mean, the hypocrisy is glaringly obvious.
Mm-hmm.
That's just,
Mm-hmm.
well, again, people still believe Trump, so they believe anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, and again, nobody's asking what they're for. Why do we need them? Never needed them before.
That's to monitor total control of us.
Hmm.
This is what it's for. Just in
Yeah,
case anybody doesn't know that. If
yeah.
you haven't figured it out.
I think if you're listening to this, you probably do. You're probably on the list already. You're being monitored right now when you're listening to this.
Uh,
Yeah. So yeah, that's that's where we're going. But anyway, let's hope these are nowhere near a forest, right? Because this is from Live Science. Well, I guess it's supposed to dead science. Extreme wildfires, droughts, and storms could happen even under moderate global warming, study finds. Moderate, right?
hmm
New research suggests devastating climate outcomes that are typically associated with extreme global warming could hit even what? Could hit even we limit heating to 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit above pre-industrial levels. Pre-industrial, right?
hmm
3.6 degrees Fahrenheit is just over what, 1.5 centigrade?
hmm
They're using Fahrenheit now to make it sound worse.
hmm
Yeah. And this AI data center warming is 9.1 centigrade.
Yeah.
So they're using centigrade to make it sound lower.
Yeah.
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 So let me see,
Whatever
what's
suits the
9.1?
purpose.
Hold on.
Uh,
9.1 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. Here we go. 48 Fahrenheit.
wow.
So around the data center, it can go up almost 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
Huh? And
Now
they're
that's
talking about
crazy. Are you
they're
sure
talk.
about that?
Oh, I just put in here temperature 9.1 Celsius equals 48.38 Fahrenheit.
Oh my goodness.
Although, hold on, this one down here, this one says 9.1 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit is 15.62. So why is that? I'll try another one. Hold on. I thought that was a bit high, but let me see what this one says.
Well, 16 degrees increase of temperature is outrageous. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know why it's come up as 48. Well, hold on, this other one comes up the same. 9.1 Celsius to Fahrenheit, 48 degrees.
Wait a
Oh, wait a
minute.
minute. Well, that's
Yeah,
the temperature. That's the air
yeah,
temperature.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah,
But, well, I mean, they should be able to convert that. I guess that's right then. 16. It must be 16 then.
yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah.
So,
But
yeah,
okay,
well,
so,
okay.
but still, I mean, come on. If you live in a place and it's 90 degrees and you raise it 16 degrees,
Mhm.
come on. That's
Well, they're talking about,
unbearable.
yeah, they're talking about severe global warming is
Mm-hmm.
3.6 Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 4 times higher
Yep.
around the data center. I wonder if that affects the weather.
Yeah, I wonder.
It's certainly affected the people that get a suntan in the middle of winter
Mm-hmm.
going, what's going
Mm-hmm.
on?
And
Yeah, I
then,
guess you know what you have to do when they cut your AC off in the winter. Just open your windows.
yeah, yeah.
Just you get all that hot air coming in for the data center.
Oh,
Be
a
all right.
couple others that you sent me. We don't have to, read them, but just to mention the headlines. Get ready for a year of chaotic weather in the U.S. A
Hmm.
massive western heat wave and a potential El Nino event raise concerns about a long stretch of unpredictable and extreme weather.
They
And
said it was Super El Nino, I think they called
it's
it.
okay. Yeah, here's another
Another
one.
once in a century
Yep.
storm.
hmm
How many of them we had?
So, I mean, come on. It's,
Uh, yeah, as I say, the jets are still flying, spraying out all that stuff, so they've no shortage of fuel.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they must be getting subsidized
Yeah.
by us. Yeah, yeah, that's where the high fuel prices are going. They're subsidizing these guys.
Mm,
But anyway, yeah. So that was, I mean, 3.6 degrees above pre-industrial levels. And we were talking about the Middle Ages.
mhm,
3.6 Fahrenheit. And
mm,
nothing. It's nothing. But remember, they said in the last one we spoke about a rise of 0.05 degrees would be catastrophic over and above the expected rise. Like we'd feel the
mhm,
difference.
mhm,
Really. Anyway, dangerous weather events typically associated with, I guess should put in brackets there, but not necessarily, could be an AI center,
mhm.
with extreme global warming, could become more frequent even under moderate levels of heating. A new study finds Deadly floods in cities and catastrophic droughts in major crop-producing regions may hit more often than previously thought under a climate scenario. Well, you should put the data center somewhere where you want it warm, then, shouldn't
Well, that would make sense.
you? Where global temperatures stabilize at around 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Celsius, they're talking about. So there, it's more than 4 times higher from a data center, researchers found. The same goes for forest wildfires, which could be more frequent and devastating under a 3.6 F scenario. F, yeah, we could put another one there. Than scientists previously understood. Some scientists, these guys, right? How long have they been studying this stuff? They didn't understand it. Our results do not mean that 2 centigrade of global warming would be as severe overall as much as great as hold on. Our results do not mean that 2C of global warming would be as severe overall as much greater warming. Okay? Do not mean what? Somebody's confused, and it's certainly me. I don't know what these guys are talking about. Study lead author Emmanuel Bevacqua, head of the Climate Compound Extremes Group at the Helmholtz Center for Environmental Research in Germany, told Live Science in an email. Must be true. Rather, they show that extreme impacts in particularly vulnerable or socially important sectors may occur even under moderate warming of 2 degrees. Right? So there you go. Researchers use the same ensemble of 50 climate models as, guess who, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change did in its latest assessment report. So in other words, it's completely bogus. Right? However, unlike the IPCC and many climate studies that draw conclusions from averages calculated across all 50 models, Bevacqua and his colleagues explored the models separately to identify a range of possible outcomes under a 3.6 F warming scenario. So they created, another 50 models. Is that what they did? The team focused on 3 sectors that are particularly vulnerable to specific climate impacts: highly populated areas, which are extremely susceptible to rainfall and flooding; bread baskets, don't be carrying one of them, which are more sensitive to drought. I've never seen a wet bread basket. Have you?
No.
No. And forests, which are especially at risk from wildfires. Really? Really? Is that because they're made of wood? I don't know. For each sector, the researchers ranked their model results from lowest impact to highest impact. Well, good job. Then they compared this ranking to climate outcomes that were obtained by averaging the results of the 50 models under 3 Celsius and 4 Celsius. Well, they just talked about 2, so why are they doubling it? Bullshit in, bullshit out. The study results, published in March 25 in the journal Nature, they were the ones that were falsifying all the figures before, I remember, indicate that 3.6 degrees of Fahrenheit of warming, which is considered a moderate scenario, 3.6 above, they may as call it above the caveman, they may as well say that, can trigger climate events in each studied sector that vary hugely in intensity depending on the model. Well, there you go, right? Vary hugely in intensity depending on which model you use.
Yeah.
So which one's right? Anyway, that's enough of that nonsense.
Whichever model's getting paid the most.
Yeah, the one with the biggest temperature label on it.
Yeah.
The model they took right outside the AI center. That one. Said, it's getting warm here. Wonder what that could be. Look at all those AC on the roof. Look at that. Wow. It's nice and cozy in there. Cool in the summer. Well, I guess they don't need heating in the winter.
No.
They're probably walking about in swimsuits.
Wow.
The few staff they have. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. That's it.
All
I know
right.
you're stuck for time this
Yeah, well, we're I think I'll just be putting basically the headlines on the video. I don't have a lot of time my main thing is I don't have a lot of time to actually illustrate the video part of it. So,
Yeah. Okay. Oh well.
but I think we did pretty well here. I'm just kind of going
We
through
got
here.
through a
We've got
few.
it. Yeah, we did get through quite a few. I'm just making sure that oh well, I'm going to mention this one too because it's thematically with us. North Carolina farmer weighs in as Persian Gulf fertilizer crisis
Uh,
widens. You will see a massive decline in yield and acres. Now, we've already said we wouldn't want to use those chemicals, but
mhm.
we're talking big agri, so we're talking food shortages if this happens.
Well, most people do eat that stuff.
Yes, of
So,
course.
you know,
So, yeah.
and particularly here.
Hmm.
But again, America supplies its own fertilizer.
Hmm.
So what's the problem?
No, no.
It's an orchestrated crisis.
Yeah, this is another one that since we've touched on the fringes of this, how Elon Musk's Mississippi power plant is affecting residents. I'm going to
Mhm.
post that one
Yeah.
in the links. And
Well, he's selling these cars to the cops now.
yeah,
Great. Great. Get subsidized for the
yeah.
public, and then the cops buy them with public money.
And then this one,
What a
just so
deal.
you, yeah, just so we know where this is going in terms of Agenda 21 and, 15-minute cities, Iran war should trigger faster exit from fossil fuel dependence,
Hmm.
UN
Yeah.
climate chief says.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
well, like we've said, it's in your face now.
Well, I can't remember what the guy's name. Dennis Meadows was the guy I was trying to think of the last time. It just came
Mm-hmm.
into my head right there
Mm-hmm.
then.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Meadows, he was saying we need to find a peaceful way to kill people off,
Yeah.
a humane way, without causing any panic. We just don't tell them, right?
Yeah. Don't.
Um, but there was one of these climate guys mentioned that a nuclear war would be good for the climate brigade, didn't they? I can't remember who that
I don't
was.
remember who that was, but why have a nuclear war when you can just make a nuclear canal? Maybe that'll
Yeah,
do
well, I
the
think I'll
same
do the
thing.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dark winter. Yeah, bring it on.
Mm. All right. Well, listen, we, I haven't, you suggested a guest, and I'll leave it as a mystery because I have not made that attempt yet. But I think maybe if it works out next month, the two of us will talk to a guest that you have
Hmm.
suggested.
Well, I know the person, so
Yes.
yeah,
So,
I've met him a few times.
yeah. So we'll try to coordinate that and have that conversation next month because it really does tie in with everything that we're talking about. One last one from about 2.5 weeks ago, I'll post here that you gave me as food from the Daily Mail, food rationing, panic buying, planes grounded, an economic hammer blow, far worse than COVID. Let that one sink in. Far
Yep,
worse than COVID.
yep.
Economists explain nightmare scenario that could be just weeks away due to Iran war. I
Hmm.
know, this sounds like fear mongering on the one hand, but on the other, it also sounds like, long term plans coming into effect.
Yeah. I've mentioned it before. People say, "Oh, I don't want to use Amazon. I don't want to use this." Look, get what you can get because
Hmm.
you ain't going to be able to get it for long.
Hmm.
Just because you don't buy that, I don't know, galvanized planter from Timu or wherever,
Hmm.
it ain't going to affect Timu, but it's going to affect you if you don't have anything.
That's right.
Just get it while you can, as cheap as you can, and make do with what you can get. Because if you have to have a digital ID to get on the internet, you ain't getting anything. And if you
Yeah.
have a digital ID to get in the store, you ain't getting anything.
Mhm.
So get it while you can. Don't worry about the ethics of it. Oh, I don't want to feed the beast. Well, they don't want to feed you either,
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
right? Literally.
Yep.
So
Yep.
get it while you can. Get your seeds. Get all that stuff. I tell you, here's a hint for anybody. If you want to buy seeds in bulk, the best way to do it is to buy microgreen seeds because you
Mm.
get a pound bag for about $20.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and they grow into full plants. They're
Oh,
exactly the same seeds.
okay.
Because I've still got some here. I've got a load here, and you can get mixed lettuce varieties. You can get all sorts of things, radishes, peas, the whole lot. You can get in bulk. Buy them from and usually they're organic. Buy them from a microgreens company,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have as much as you need to dish out to friends and family.
Well,
And I'm going to send you some pigeon peas.
oh,
Um,
good.
I've got them
Good.
here. You hear that? That's
Uh,
pigeon
uh,
peas.
yes, I heard that. Do it again.
They're in a little plastic box.
Okay.
But
Okay.
those things, again, if anybody's in climate where you can grow them. They don't do well in frost because all mine died when we had that cold spell.
Uh,
Um, I get about a 90% germination rate out of these. And once you've grown one or two trees, you'll never have to grow another one.
mm,
You get enough seeds off it to perpetually have one. So I've
cool.
got 6 or 7 sprouting just now. So I shall
Mm.
send, there's, I don't know how many is in here, 200 or 300 anyway.
Oh, neat. Okay, cool. I look forward to that. I
So you
like
can share them
pigeon
out.
peas. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And we will be back again in May. If we can believe that or
Hmm.
not, it will be May. Wow.
If we're still here,
Yeah.
we're not being nuked by somebody wanting to build a canal.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank you all for listening. And I look, there are things that you can do. There are always things that you can do. And that is something that we have to stress.
Yep. Buy storable food.
Yeah.
Don't buy that junk they try and sell you in Patriots and all that kind of thing. Oh, buy your 30-day supply. No, you're going to need more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Once your 30-day supply is gone, what are you going to do after that?
Yep.
Buy
Yep.
stuff you can keep regrowing and regrowing beans. You know, you can't regrow rice, but you can get a big two big bags of that for pretty cheap. Just can it
Yeah.
up. The cans
Yeah.
will cost you more than the rice actually, but there you go.
All right. Well, listen, everyone, take care, and we will be back next month.
Okay.
Well, God willing, as you said.
Yeah. As I say, if Trump decides he wants to build a golf course with a nice canal around here, I'm going to get worried.
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. Indeed.
Well, I've got something that the world didn't give me, and the world cannot take it away. And I've got something that the world